baby. Listen, hey, here we are again this week. First and foremost, I want to jump on the Shedeur Sanders training. And I want to say this. Did this kid's stock drop so far down the ladder? Was it self-inflicted? Was it a self-inflicted wound? I want to say yes, because you are an unproven quarterback in the NFL. The NCAA, that's a whole different story. But in the NFL, you haven't thrown a pass, you haven't had an incomplete pass, you haven't won a game. But you coming out into this league, an undrafted kid, selecting to only interview with a handful of teams, selecting not to go and at the combine, not to compete at the combine, not to show what you have, when all of the other quarterbacks that were coming out in this draft were there. They showed up. Cam Ward, there, he showed up. Jackson Dart, there, he showed up. Dylan Gabriel, there, he showed up. Jalen Milrose, there, he showed up. The list goes on and on. But the arrogance of this young man to decide I'm not going to show off my talent when I want all of the teams that are in the draft to take a look at me and see where I could help the organization. The other thing that I think he brought to the party that was unwanted was the unwanted attention that him and his father bring to the organization. You can't have Deion, who was a phenomenal player and Hall of Famer, but he was a Hall of Famer as a defensive player. You can't compare Archie Manning as a quarterback, Deion Sanders as a defensive player. Archie Manning groomed his sons, and yes, they had similar opinions as to where their kids were going to play, but Deion cannot go on national TV and say, I'm not going to let my son play for certain organizations. And then when it comes time for the draft party, you have all your rapper friends there, you have a medallion, specially made medallion saying legendary. Legendary what? What have you done in the NFL? Cameron Ward, did he come to the NFL draft in a giant medallion? Did he come all blinged out in jewelry, diamond earrings? No, he came like, hey, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to represent the organization that drafts me in a fashion, in a form that is fitting of the title of being drafted number one in 2025's draft. So, Shedeur, you bring a lot of this on yourself. I don't feel as bad. Now, talent-wise, he should have gone down maybe to the second round draft. But 144, fifth round, are you telling me that this is what he thought was going to happen? Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe. I'm going to go off on Shannon in a minute too. All of these guys that sat back and said that there was some type of a conspiracy theory because of what was going on in this man's draft on the chart. Was he the number one rated quarterback? Was his talent qualifying of a number one pick? Yeah, he could have been. But when you bring unwanted drama, unwanted atmosphere to an organization that is looking for you to be the face of the franchise, I think sometimes you have to go back, look at what you did, and tell me you would not change how you came out and represented yourself, how you interacted, and how your interviews went. If you wouldn't change any of that, then I'll say, hey, you stand on 10 toes as to what you are, who you are, and how you represent yourself. But if you would go back and change what you did from then to now, I think you would probably been the second or third quarterback overall picked. But you didn't do that. So lesson learned. Sometimes you can be so confident, you can be so cocky, you can be so arrogant that it works against you. Yet every quarterback in this draft, don't listen to me, don't believe me, but go back and listen to the interviews given by each of the quarterbacks that were drafted. Tell me one of those quarterbacks that sounded anything like Shedeur in their interviews. Give me one quarterback who was so overconfident in his ability to what he brings to the NFL as a rookie. Tell me one. Show me one. You can't. So, Deion, I hope you learned a lesson. Shedeur, I hope you learned a lesson. maybe this chip that you've been put on your shoulder will motivate you to go out there, keep your mouth shut, and just perform. Your performance will quiet your critics, but your mouth is not going to quiet your critics. It's going to add fuel to the fire, because everybody's going to expect more from you when you tell everybody how great you are, but yet you've done nothing to solidify the fact that you're great. So Shedeur Sanders, hey, number 1, number 2, number 3. No, how about 144? 144. Remember that number. And if you don't live up to the hype, people are going to go back and say, look at A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. These are all the reasons why nobody picked him, why nobody took him early in the draft. They waited so long because they didn't believe that the hype was for real. But they knew that the noise was really loud. And sometimes people want quiet. They don't want noise. Let me get on to your New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are balling, and I'm going to tell you, it was a phenomenal game between the Pistons and the Knicks, and it came down to the last minute, last few seconds of the game. The Knicks are balling. Jalen Brunson, I can't say enough about this young man. He is special. He's just special. Cat has done what he needs to do. His three-point shooting has been spectacular. His defense has been good. He's shown a lot of grit. Josh Hart, he has done what he needs to do. This kid is gritty. He's a competitor. He's defensive-minded, but he's team-oriented. He does not mind not getting the highlights. He does not mind not being the man at the forefront. He is just one of those guys that says, I want to be a part of a winning organization. So, Josh Hart, to take my hat off to you. Bridges, what can you say about Mikal Bridges? The kid goes out there and he does what needs to get done. OG Anunoby, another one, goes out there quiet. These are unsung heroes, but they're out there and they're playing their ass off. And Mitchell Robinson, can't leave him out of the pack. He's out there and he's playing well. So the Knicks, I think they'll close it out at home. If they don't close it out at home, they'll get this job done. Knicks are going to go to the second round. Let's see what happens. Let's move on to OKC and Memphis. I'm going to tell you, this was probably one of the best games that I've seen coming from the second half, because these guys were down 26 points at halftime, and they overcame a 26-point deficit to come back and beat Memphis. And I thought Memphis had this game in the bag. I'm not going to lie to you. I think if Morant was on the floor, they may have gotten the job done. So I hate to see that Ja got hurt, but Memphis, when you're down 26 and you rally from behind, and this is a historical comeback, no team has come back from a deficit of this proportion in the history of the game, in a playoff game. So you got to take your hat off to those guys. They just play a brand of ball. Alex Caruso, they got this guy here for his defense. They got him here for his basketball IQ. He's made a difference on the court and what he brings as far as his camaraderie with his teammates and just the ebb and flow that he plays this game with. So take my hat off to that guy. Played phenomenal. Can't wait to see who they take on in the second round. But I think it's going to be an epic game as to where they finish up in the playoffs. I'm looking for them right now. They're my favorite. They're number one position. Let's go back and let's take at the LA Clippers and the Houston Rockets. No, LA Clippers. I'm losing my train of thought. Let's go Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. I'm going to say this. Dylan Brooks, I love his tenacity. I love his attitude, because he is going to go out there and he's got confidence beyond belief in his ability, his talent, but I think he's a little overly aggressive, and he picks up fouls early in the game so that when his team needs him down at the stretch, he's sitting on the bench and he's looking. I think if Dylan doesn't foul out, I think that, Houston wins the game. But when you're that important of a piece on that chessboard for that team, you cannot afford to pick up early fouls in the game, and you cannot afford to not keep your composure as you're going through the game, because superstars are needed toward the end of games to finish things out. They're needed. Steph Curry, greatest shooter I've ever seen. This kid has ice running down his veins, and we can see it day in, day out. He's a professional. They didn't have Jimmy Butler for the game, but everybody else has stepped up. Gary Payton Jr., wow. What is this guy doing? I want him on my team. He is just a team guy. He's not a star, but he is glue. He holds things together, and his three-point clutch shooting has been phenomenal. He's just getting it done. Green, a little bit emotional to me. Got to calm down a little bit, but I'll take him on my team if he can push and get us through to the next round. I'm not going to go on everybody else on the team, but Golden State, man, you guys are doing what you need to do. I want to see you in the second round. Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers. What a game. What a game. Another series, it's meant to see TV. These games have been really exciting. I love what's going on. I love the grit. I just love the competitiveness that we see. This game went down to the final second. Not even a second, like 0.3 of a second, 1/10 of a second. If Eric Gordon doesn't sky high and throws that rebound back into the net, I'm telling you, when I saw it, I said it's going to overtime. There's no way that they're going to be able to differentiate his finger being off the ball and it going through the rim cylinder without any indication of it touching the ball. Eric Gordon, take my hat off to you. You played your ass off. Your defense is good. Your three-point shooting was good. Murray, the whole squad just played very good. The Joker, you can't take anything away from him. One of the best scorers I've seen. You just can't take nothing away from this guy. Phenomenal, just phenomenal. Jump on to, let's see. Let's go to Orlando. And let's go to Orlando playing... let me get my thoughts right. Orlando and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Orlando, man. I'm all screwed up. Orlando didn't play the Cleveland Cavaliers. Chris, help me out. Orlando played.
We can cut this. Who they play? Let's see. Hold on.
Orlando played the Celtics.
Orlando played the Celtics. Yeah.
Okay.
107-98.
107-98. Folks, Orlando Magic, I'm going to say these guys came out and they played a hell of a game, because I thought the Celtics would just blow them out of the water. But Orlando came back. They played a hell of a game. They just really are a gritty, young bunch of guys that Vaqueros, from the kid from Germany, I'm trying. My brain is in a fog right now. But Orlando played a brand of basketball last night that I'm going to say they played team-oriented. They passed. They defended. They showed you what they have in store for the future. I think they're going to be a hell of a team down the road. And I think they just have some pieces that they need, some complementary pieces around them. But the pieces that they have in place, as long as they put these guys down for long-term contracts, they're going to be a team to reckon with. But the Boston Celtics, like I tell you, they are that blue-collar organization that they have a bunch of winners. Who do you want to start with? Let's go with Porzingis. The guy that got hit, 5 stitches, but he's coming out and he's balling. Jason Tatum. Can you ask for anything more from a superstar? A quiet superstar. He's not one of these guys that's really loud. He's not one of these guys that are going to tell you what he's going to do. He just goes out there and he performs. Jaylen Brown, another guy, puts his hard hat on, carries his lunch pail, and he is out there. He's working, never complaining. You never hear anything about these guys off the court, right? You never hear anything about them off the court. Why? They're a bunch of professionals that go out there to get the job done. So the Boston Celtics, we're going to say, they're going to be in the finals, playing probably against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, folks, I got to get on to Shannon Sharpe. Club Shay Shay. I'm going to say this first and foremost. Shannon Sharpe was warned by one of his so-called friends, Monique, the comedian. Warned him, stay away from these young girls. Go find yourself a mature woman that you have things in common with. Those words went in one ear, shot out the other. Why? Because here we have a 54-year-old man who is engaging with a 19-year-old. Hear me again, folks, when I say 19-year-old, because I don't care who you are. If you need to hang around the high school to wait for somebody to graduate in order to have an affair with or to date, something's wrong with your moral barometer. Something's off. He has 2 daughters. Would the behavior and the actions be appropriate if a 54-year-old were trying to date his daughters? Would his grandmother and grandfather who raised him, and he gives praise for the way that he was brought up, for the right and wrong, the morality that they gave him and instilled in him, would he be proud to bring this situation to their front door if they were still alive? I'd say the answer is no. Would you allow some 54-year-old to pull up to your house and date your 19-year-old daughter? I'd say the answer is no. And here's the other thing. Some people may say it's a money grab by the young lady. But at the same time, with all of these celebrities that have been getting in trouble for sexual assaults, unwanted attention, you're watching one after another. It's a domino effect. They keep going down, 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 down. At some point in time, shouldn't you have enough morality to say, hey, I don't want to put myself in a position to where all these guys who were on top are now falling off the cliff one by one? Why would I want to put myself in that boat? I don't know. But I think when you do that, you're putting yourself and your family in a bad light. Because at the end of the day, Sterling Sharpe will be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Is Shannon inducting him? Is he going to be the one representing him? I don't know. If it were me, I'd have to make a different choice because there's too much attention that goes with that name. So Shannon Sharpe, you're wrong in a lot of aspects. I'm going to say these are the things that I believe that tell me something is wrong with, there's a character flaw. Your good friend, Stephen A. Smith, when Jay-Z was accused of sexual assault, came on First Take and said, this brother does not have this in his DNA. I can speak for his character. I can speak for the man that he is, and I know that he would never do anything that would be associated with a sexual assault on a young lady. But when it came time for Stephen A. Smith to speak up and defend you, he said, I was not there. I did not see anything, so therefore I'm not going to speak upon it. He did not come in as a character witness and say, this is my friend. I know his character. I know his background. And these are things that I know he would not participate in. That tells you something right there. You offer somebody $50 million. Why would you offer somebody $50 million if you had done nothing wrong? Then you walked away from ESPN. I'm going to assume that you walked away from ESPN before they fired you because I'm sure there's a clause, a morality clause in your contract that's been violated. So Shannon, you taped a young lady without her consent. You were on voice message saying you were going to choke this young lady. This young lady also said that you sexually violated her against her will. These are things that are character. There was another young lady that also has filed a lawsuit against you a year ago. Now, where there's smoke, there might be a little fire. So Shannon Sharpe, I think that you really have to sit back, look in the mirror, and maybe say, hey, you know what, America, I know you guys have looked up to me. I may not want to be your role model, but I'm in the spotlight and I know people expect certain things from me, I let you down. But not only did I let you down, I let myself down in the situation. Shannon Sharpe, come on, be a man, step up to the plate and just say, hey, you know what, I screwed up. And I wish I could change what happened, but I'll learn so that it doesn't happen to the next guy. If what happens to me prevents it from happening to someone else, then guess what? Maybe this lesson needed to be learned by me at this point in time. But I'm gravely disappointed in the actions of Shannon Sharpe. And there's been not one celebrity that has come on to defend or to speak up upon his character. So when nobody steps up to the plate and says anything, you have to ask yourself, are we guilty of something, or is this a conspiracy? Let's throw the conspiracy theories out the window, and let's say that there's something that you did that, hey, maybe you wish, looking back at the situation, if you had a chance to do it all over again, you wouldn't have done what you did do. Folks, that's all we're going to talk about right now. But let me hold on. RFK Stadium. Listen, the mayor of D.C. and the owner of the Redskins have agreed on a $3 billion stadium. I think it's good for the community. I think it's good for the organization. And I think it'll be overall good as they want to put some housing around the area and probably put up some redevelopment zones for opportunities for folks in that area. So I think it's a good thing for the NFL. I think it's a good thing for the Redskin Nation. I think it's a good thing for Washington itself. I don't think that it's a bad idea. I think that sometimes if we can create jobs and opportunities for those that are in an impoverished area where we need to provide a little bit more effort, a little bit more support to those neighborhoods, I think this is the perfect opportunity to do it. I think there will be an outreach and an outcry of support for the stadium to go up. And you're always going to have some opposition. There are always going to be those that say, why? Well, it's the course. These stadiums, they run their course. Some of these stadiums are old, they're dilapidated, they're outdated. You need to update the stadiums, and guess what? It does create employment opportunity for someone. So don't just think about it as the owners are getting to build this new luxurious stadium, but think of it as it's an opportunity for those that need a job. And how long is this stadium going to take to build? So someone might get a job between now and the next 5 years. I think that's important. Community. We have to think about those things. And you know what? Let me take my hat off to Wilfred Penney, young man out of Virginia Tech who has migrated over from France, came over from France to this country, not growing up playing football, but you know what? He has worked on his skill and he has quietly risen up the ranks, declared for the draft this year, and I want to say he was an undrafted, unrestricted free agent that is going to be playing for the New England Patriots. I think that's a great organization for him to go to. I think he's a phenomenal young man with a lot of drive, and he has the support of his teammates, and he has family and friends that have supported him along the way. And this is one of those guys that I say it's a feel-good story because I've met him. I've seen his character. I've sat across from him. I've talked to him. And when I say he's a gentle giant, he's a gentle giant. And I think that he will make any organization that has him on their team, he will be an asset to that organization. So let me say, congratulations, job well done. You worked at your craft, and now you're being rewarded. So hey, I'm rooting for you. Whatever your jersey is, whatever number you're wearing, I'm supporting the number. Why? It's not the organization. It's the person underneath the uniform that I support. And I think that you'll have a great supporting cast over there. And just keep your nose to the grindstone. And guess what? Everybody's going to say, we knew him when he was sitting across the dinner table from us. And he's the same person then that he is now, that he's sitting on an NFL roster. So, Will, my friend, thank you and congratulations. That's it, folks.